Ever noticed how in many markets, while two major players rise to prominence, the third competitor often fades from the spotlight? This phenomenon unfolds across various industries. In the beverage world, Coca-Cola and Pepsi have long held dominant positions, while RC Cola, which once had its place in the market, has seen its visibility decline. In payment processing, Visa and MasterCard have become household names, and Discover, despite its efforts, has found it challenging to achieve the same level of widespread recognition. In the smartphone arena, Apple and Samsung stand at the forefront, and HTC, which was once a notable player, has reduced its presence in the market. In the digital ad space, Google and Facebook have captured significant market share, and Twitter has faced difficulties growing its ad business. What drives this recurring pattern? What economic principles lie behind it? The answer lies in a simple concept: scarcity. However, it's not the typical form of scarcity. I'm referring to the scarcity of consumer attention, one of the most precious and limited resources in today's economy. Our mental capacity to process and remember information is limited. For any product category, the market leader is easily remembered, but our recall of the second-place competitor drops, and the third player often fails to make a strong impression. This isn't a shortcoming of our memory. It's how our brains are designed to function. Consider this: Mount Everest is widely known as the world's tallest mountain. But how many people can quickly name the second tallest mountain, K2 Godwin Austen, and the third tallest, Kanchenjunga? Only a few, especially those with a specific interest in mountaineering, would know without looking it up. Similarly, Neil Armstrong is famous as the first person to walk on the moon. Buzz Aldrin, who followed shortly after, is less well remembered, and Pete Conrad, the third person to set foot on the lunar surface, is a name known only to a select few. These examples illustrate how our brains prioritize first and struggle to retain details beyond that. Why is our attention so scarce? Our cognitive resources are limited, and our brains constantly assess the value of incoming information. Instead of using mental energy to memorize the heights of numerous mountains, our brains focus on more significant and relevant facts, like the first person on the moon or the discoverer of penicillin. This is the economy of attention at play. Before Coca-Cola and Pepsi became locked in a fierce rivalry, RC Cola had carved out a niche in consumers' minds. It had a certain level of brand recognition, even with a smaller market share. But as the two beverage giants ramped up their marketing efforts with celebrity endorsements, taste tests, and product innovations, they captured most of the consumers' attention. Consumers started to focus on choosing between Coke and Pepsi, and RC Cola gradually faded from the center of public interest. Consumer attention isn't the only scarce resource. Channel scarcity, referring to the limited shelf space and prime spots in retail environments, also plays a crucial role. While consumer attention determines brand awareness, channel availability affects product accessibility. When two major market players compete aggressively, they tend to dominate these limited distribution channels. Supermarkets have limited shelf space, and prime display positions are highly sought after. In the past, multiple leading players could secure reasonable shelf placement. But when powerful competitors like Coke and Pepsi engage in a battle, they both strive to occupy the best spots, offering retailers substantial incentives to gain visibility. This leaves other competitors with less favorable locations, which can significantly impact their sales. For the third player, the options are difficult. Either invest heavily to compete for prime shelf space, potentially hurting profit margins, or accept less visible placement, which may lead to lower sales volumes. The situation is similar for payment networks like Visa and MasterCard. As they competed for bank partnerships and consumer preference, Discover, despite its unique features and attractive terms, found it hard to gain equal footing in consumers' minds. When people think about credit cards, Visa and MasterCard are often the first names that come to mind. This is the economic reality that explains why the third competitor often loses ground in intense market competitions. It's not about personal failings, but rather the result of the monopolization of two scarce resources: consumer attention and distribution channels. For businesses, the key takeaway is clear. In any market, the goal should be to either become the market leader or secure a strong second position. When top players engage in intense competition, being the third player can be an extremely challenging position. In the competitive landscape defined by the scarcity of attention and distribution, it can be difficult for three players to thrive simultaneously.